host, and this is actually the third and final video in a series to help you authors get when you get stuck in thinking creatively, like I have too many ideas, or if you get stuck in thinking logically, I have to find the perfect word. So in this video, we're talking about when you think so creatively that you have so many ideas. This is the author who comes to me and says, I don't know, there's so many, how do I get all these ideas in a book? Should I write 5 books? Which book should I write first? Maybe I should write them all. It's so many ideas. So if that's you, this video is for you, because we're talking about convergent thinking, which involves narrowing down options, identifying patterns, and arriving at a single solution or conclusion rather than staying with all those great ideas. And it's good to have all those ideas. That's that divergent thinking. That's a positive thing. But today we're talking about convergent thinking. If you want the videos on the other ways to think, I will put them in the description for you. But now we're going to talk about how to get into your logical mind so you can mine all those brilliant ideas you've had for that one diamond. First thing you want to do is you want to define the problem. When authors come to work with me, I say, okay, we're going to write out your book concept in one sentence, which usually it's like, that's impossible, but it's actually not impossible. You can do it. So take some time to hone it down and hone it down and hone it down. If somebody said, tell me about your book in one sentence, how would you answer that question? You need to define the problem and then gather information, gather relevant data, the information, evidence. So conduct research, analyze sources, gather insights to inform your decision-making process. And then once you have all this stuff, and that's something that people who are like lots of ideas, they're often better at that. But once you have all that stuff, you want to identify criteria. So what are the factors that are important for evaluating all these ideas, all these potential solutions, all these options? What is the criteria for feasibility, effectiveness, cost, impact on the reader? And so once you have your criteria, you're going to take all those, all those options that you have. You're going to generate all those options. You're going to take all the research, you'll generate the options, you'll list them out. So you have your criteria here and you have your options here. And step number 5 is to evaluate the alternatives. So you take the established criteria that you have developed and you look at each alternative. You look at the pros, the cons, the implications, the potential outcomes. Whatever your criteria is, you measure all of those ideas against that criteria. And then once you have evaluated all the alternatives, then you're going to look over them and you're going to narrow down. So you've narrowed down this list of options. Now you're going to narrow it down even more. So less feasible. So of these, now back to your criteria, do it again. So you still have too many ideas. You have to narrow it down. So go over the criteria again. How many more ideas can you knock out of there, right? And then you've got your ideas remaining. Look for patterns, look for trends, look for recurring themes among all the remaining options. Identify commonalities, similarities that may indicate a preferred direction or solution. And once you've done that, you've got, okay, like these ideas go together. Now you can synthesize all this information. You can integrate the information and insights gathered from your analysis to form a coherent and comprehensive understanding of the problem and the potential solutions. So now you're looking for a unified framework to guide all your decision making. And then you're going to make a decision based on your analysis of the evaluation. You're going to make decisions. You're going to choose that one best, how are we going to do this, right? So it could be for per chapter, right? What is that one desired outcome for each chapter that matches my overall book concept? And then once you have that, you'll know as you're writing which ideas fit in, because you have that criteria. You have a criteria for the book, you have the criteria for each chapter, and you can start saying this fits, this doesn't fit, this fits, this doesn't fit. And that's implementation, step number 10, implementation and monitoring. So then you just implement those solutions. And so those are the 10 steps. So if you follow these steps, you can enhance your convergent thinking and effectively analyze information, evaluate options, and make good decisions for what goes in the book as a whole, what each chapter should be, those like narrow ideas, and then what information could go into each chapter. So I want to give you some kind of very practical, how to. I mean, I know that was fairly practical, but we're going to dig in just on three ideas to kind of give you a step by step. So the first one is thematic analysis. A lot of times people have a lot of themes that they could use, especially memoirs, coming of age, dealing with trauma, relationship with parents. There's lots of themes that you can come up with, but you can't tell every aspect of your life in a memoir, just like in a book. If you're an expert and you're writing a book on a topic, you can't tell people everything you know in one book. So you need to kind of analyze the theme and kind of narrow it down. So the first thing you do is you select a section of, if you've already written a book, select a section of your manuscript, or if you haven't, a section of your relevant material, or relevant like first draft, research material, whatever it happens to be. And then you're going to look at it, you're going to go through it, and you're going to find what are the recurring ideas? What are the recurring concepts in this? You can grab a highlighter. This is a really great thing if you have a memoir and you have lots of concepts. You can grab a highlighter. You can just highlight. This is about family. This is about coming of age. This is about another theme. And you can use different colors to highlight those different themes in your memoir. Or if it's a book that you are writing for, it's a business book, for example, you can use the highlighter and categorize passages based on theme or concept. Or, this is a story, and this is information, and this is an example, and this is an activity they can do. So you can kind of analyze the relationship between the different parts in the chapter or the different themes. And then once you have that, you can narrow things down. If you have a chapter that's too many words, this will really help you kind of tighten it up and narrow it down, because it'll be easier to figure out what to take out and what to leave in. Okay, number 2, evidence integration. I talked about that as well. So good nonfiction writing relies on evidence to support its arguments and to support its claims. So often nonfiction authors have all this research and evidence that they have. So you want to review all of that. And then you want to find the most relevant and most credible sources that support your central argument. And then once you've done that, you can evaluate each piece of research you're looking at based on its reliability, its significance, its credibility, and how it aligns with your objectives. And you know your objectives because you have that one sentence concept for your book. Then you want to take the absolute strongest evidence and put it into your manuscript, focusing on how each piece of evidence actually applies to that overall narrative or the overall analysis that you're doing at the moment. And then that's when you eliminate or minimize all the other research. So if you have chapters that are too big and too long, this is something you can do, is just go through, analyze each one, and remove. Even if they're beautiful, even if you love them, it's still too much. Readers don't want like the same thing over and over again. They want the most important pieces, and this will help you figure that out. Okay, finally, number 3, I want to talk about outline refinement. So the outline of your nonfiction book is your roadmap. It's how you get from A to B, and how you take the reader from A to B through your central arguments, right? Through your themes. And so you want to have a really uh, detailed or coherent outline or structure. So you want to review the structure and organizations of your chapters and the sections within your nonfiction book. So as you're going through it, where do you have multiple ideas or subtopics that overlap? So if you have the same ideas in different chapters, how can they be merged? Because you don't want to be saying the same things over and over again in different chapters. You do want to say things over again more than once, but you don't want to be, you don't want to, beat people over the head with ideas. So when you have stuff that's too much, how can you either pull it out of one and put it into the other, or how can you merge them, or how can you keep them separate and have them different ideas, maybe one building on another? So evaluate each chapter and each section of your book based on the relevance to that central idea. Remember, we talked about defining the problem. So every piece, and this is something I do when I'm editing a book, I look at every single piece. How does this section relate to the purpose of this chapter? And how does this section relate to the purpose of the overall purpose of the book? It's a really good way to go through, and you can start eliminating redundant things or things that you've found you've gone off on a tangent, a really interesting tangent, but a tangent nonetheless. It will help you uh, pull everything together so it's coherent and it flows well. And this is all about using your convergent thinking skills. So that's how you can mine your ideas, all those wonderful ideas and all those words, so many words for diamonds. Sometimes I get manuscripts that are, 100,000, more than 100,000 words, and they need to be a lot less. And my job is to do that, to mine those ideas for the diamonds and help that author, condense it down so it flows, so things aren't redundant. And I love doing it. And these are some ideas that will help you do it for yourself. If you tend to be a very flowy creative, lots of ideas, it's a really good way of thinking. We need both, but we only need one at a time, and we need them for different reasons. All right, I'm going to drop the links to all the videos in this series. It's a it's a 3-video series. I'm going to drop them in the description below so that you can access those and enjoy.